All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 74 of my weekly GEMP game review series. Got a good show planned for you tonight. Not only are we going to spoil a card from the new, let's close this, spoil a card from the new set 12. We have another spoiler for you. We are also going to reveal the first OCS foil of 2020. This will be the foil given to everyone who completed at least 8 games or more in February. And if you played 12 games, well, you get 2 copies of said foil. Speaking of the OCS, let's go ahead and take a peek at how the leaderboard finished up. Oh, it already closed out and moved out. Well, luckily I have the handy dandy results printed out for my records. So let's see what we've got over here to work with. And of course, thank you for joining us this evening, as always. All right. So we had quite a few players. There were 69, 70, 71, 72 players this month, but a couple people did not play any of their games. First place went to Tom Damon. Congratulations, Tom. 12 and 0, certainly an impressive feat. Uh, Only a handful of people. It's only happened about a half a dozen times in 2 years, usually in February for some reason. So congratulations to Tom on doing that. Certainly no easy task, regardless of the matchups that you get. There's always that randomness to your opponents and all that stuff. So, and second place went to longtime fan of the show, Jared Napolitano, 11 and 1 with a 44.93 strength of schedule, finishing just slightly ahead of Paul McWelsh and his 42.74. And Nick Rice was also at 34 points, 11 and 1, but only with a 35.29%. So a couple guys went 11 and 1 and came up short, but they're certainly at the top of the leaderboard for the 2 at-large bids. Be up to see them how they maintain that consistency over the next 6 months. Let's take a peek at the March leaderboard, because I know Paul was saying he had to try and get as many of his games in as early as possible. Well, there he is right there. That's 2 and 3, so not off to a great start. Marine's certainly rushing to get all 12 of his games in this month, but perhaps he may want to reconsider that approach. Unless his current plan is to tie Advocate, who went 0 and 12 last month, then perhaps he's right on schedule for what he's hoping for. So, as far as leaderboard goes, Coffee Pass, that's Drew is right there. That's 4 and 1 currently, sitting at the top. And then you got some 2 and 1s and some 2 and 0s, and Nick 2 and 0 again, start off the month. And some more familiar names here. Rebel Spy, Chris Kelly, all 2 and 0, and a bunch of people at 1 and 0 as well. Still plenty of people left to start their journey toward 12 games for the month. So I'm sure that will be going on. I'm sure once the set 12 spoilers get released, there'll be a couple days, when that period happens. So we'll have the spoiler list released, full list, later this week. Obviously, some of those changes should go live in GEMP almost immediately, or within a very short period. We'll say within 24 hours. The question is whether what cards they can release and what. Obviously, these cards have been play tested on GEMP, so now it's just a matter of getting the images for them, getting the proper game text and stuff updated. For those of you who don't know this, who don't play test on GEMP, the text is not coded into the picture. It's just like the regular picture of the card, and then it has like the yellow caution tape over it, just telling you that the card has been changed, or a big yellow text box that just kind of just blanks out the card text. So actually getting the image correct with the correct card text so people can look at it and view it, that's a bit of a time-consuming process. And as some of these cards, do still get changed, even after the spoiler list is released, proofing may still have things, or they think something works the way it does, and when they try and code it into GEMP to work exactly the way proofing wanted it to, they always find little hiccups and little glitches. So the transition to get all that stuff added could take a few days or a week or so before we start seeing the text of all these cards playable in GEMP, and that'll certainly impact the March OCS games. Players may be excited to use some of the new cards. Players may be hesitant to play some OCS games with new cards for fear that if the card doesn't work as intended, then they're going to end up losing a game that they probably shouldn't. It's just the nature of the beast when dealing with some of those cards sometimes. And of course, the other concern is that you're going to play a competitive game in the OCS format, and you're going to end up playing against someone who's using some new card type in a way you didn't expect. And you're going to lose a game just to, oh, I've never seen this before. I've never seen a stunning move do these things or whatever. I don't know what cards are being released. Well, I know some of them, but and we've seen some of them already, so we can quick take a peek at that as well. We have had a few spoilers over the last couple weeks, but I also want to let you guys know while we're loading this up. Quick announcement: the PC store will be temporarily offline tomorrow evening. Currently scheduled for around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As part of the announcement with the issues that have been going on with the website, why sometimes it crashes and whatnot, the platform that we host everything on is being moved. So they're moving things bit by bit from our current host, who I think is GoDaddy, over to Amazon Web Services. So tomorrow night they'll be doing the store migration. They expect it'll only take a couple hours to move the store and get everything back up and running and whatnot, but disclaimer alert, it's always a possibility that, anytime you do anything computer related, there's always the possibility that things do not work or aren't as easy as they seem to be or should be. Like I just copy A over to B and we're done, and somehow something always goofs up and goes wrong. So just that little disclaimer alert that the PC store may be temporarily offline for a few hours tomorrow night, and then hopefully when it's over on the new Amazon platform, everything will move over seamlessly. This has been kind of in the works for a little while now, and part of the reason why I haven't been keeping up to date with the inventory on that, fallen a little bit behind on there too, and before I committed a lot of time to it, I wanted to make sure that everything was moved over to the new server to get that done. So hopefully in March, I'll be doing a lot more inventory updating to make sure that there will be more cards available for sale, especially leading up to the Match Play Championship. Obviously the fear is that sometimes when we moved platforms before, sometimes the inventory in the store has gotten screwed up, and then it's a lot of work to go through and figure out what's missing, what's still there. Sometimes just cards just vanish, and you're like, oh, there used to be 100 cards in the Reflections 3 set. Now there's only 97. What 3 cards do we not have on the store that are being sold? That I have to now go through the set, figure out what 3 need to be added, find pictures for them, put them back into the display, and it's just a giant pain in the ass. So I've been a little hesitant to do the work to update the inventory to then have it possibly go away. It's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to go nice and smooth, and we're going to believe that everything is going to go nice and smooth, knock on wood, right? So that's what's going on with that. But speaking of the Match Play Championships, that's coming up. You got about 4 weeks left till you get to the March 29th deadline to sign up. That gives us time to create the brackets. We're currently half full, and I know a couple people also placed orders earlier today for their entry fee that I have not added to the list just yet. We've got the schedule of events info posted now, so people who are planning their trip can figure that out. And the hotel booking link is only available for about 2 more weeks. After that, your rooms are going to be at the regular standard hotel rate. So whatever you can get between Points, Expedia, Travelocity, whatever site you prefer, will be your rate as opposed to the using the booking link and getting the discounted rate at whatever it is. I think it's like 120 bucks a night as opposed to like 140, 150 for using the any of the other regular sites. So make sure you book your room ASAP or find someone who has a room and get that taken care of. Um, but I did. There was another reason I was coming over here. Totally lost my train of thought. Oh, spoilers. That's what we were going to look at. So Dan has been kind enough to condense, compile. That's the word I'm looking for. All of our set 12 spoilers so far. Please note, of course, all spoilers are subject to change up until the release of the set. We've seen Admiral last week. They released a couple on their show. Admiral Trench. This guy looks pretty cool. Commander, leader, Trade Federation, Republic character. So separatist. So not a Nemoidian, but another Harch, another Republic. Yeah, character there. For Darkside, Admiral, which is good. Imp Command combo with Grievous can kind of get some stuff going for some Darkside decks. You can put him in use pile to make an episode 1 ship immune to attrition for a remainder of turn, so that'll protect your blockade flagship or your invisible hand. You just send him used to do so. So you got him piloting, and him and somebody else. This is going to get slightly tweaked because it's going to have to say unless alone or something like that. Otherwise, him on Maul Starfighter or on Slave 1, you just send him used to get out of the battle. That's not going to work, so you guys don't even start thinking about ways to abuse that. That's got to get tweaked. But yeah, you got him and a couple other guys, and you play an Imp Command to limit them to 1 draw or to add a Destiny draw for yourself, then send him used afterwards. To make the ship immune to attrition, so then you still get a draw and it's immune to attrition, and your blockade flagship or your invisible hand or whatever, still gets a Destiny or 2. Invisible hand and Grievous is somewhere else. You could get 2 draws, have the ship be completely immune. You just give up 2 power to get the complete immunity, which is pretty good. And while at opponent system, their starships deploy +1 here. It's a minor little extra bonus, but hey. That could make the difference, especially against something like EBO that wants to drop 4 or 5 ships in a turn. Having them each cost +1, having them cost the regular cost instead of being -1 could certainly, stop you from getting completely overwhelmed. Aura Sing, this one's pretty exciting. We haven't really had many good versions of Aura Sing, even when Mistral was the thing 7 years ago now. Aura Sing just really wasn't all that great. So to see her get a little bump, especially after making an appearance in the Solo movie. So nice to see her getting a little bump. Much better deploy forfeit ratio. She's 4/5 instead of 4/3. Combo that up with Court, and now you've got a forfeit 7, deploy 3 with Scum. Character that draws Destiny by itself that has solid power. And a permanent weapon. So 1 more target for disarmed. Certainly going to be a big boost to that deck a little bit. Target a character for free. Draw Destiny. 2 if targeting a Jedi. Target hit, forfeit equals 0 if Destiny +1 greater than defense value. Draw 2 Destiny. Destiny +1 greater than defense value. That can hit some ability 6 Jedi fairly easily. Now you're just trying to draw 6 with 2 Destiny in some type of Scum deck. That's reasonable. I mean, you could draw 4 too, all day on that deck. There's plenty of good interrupts that are 4s, and most of your characters are Destiny 2 or 3. So getting this +1 certainly would make it easier to hit, and then you've got good power and decent forfeit. So I like her. I think she's going to fit well. She's a nice boost for Court and other Scum decks. And then certainly with one of the other cards down here. Is it not on here? Well, I feel like we've talked about it, that the Quietly Observing may be getting a change that might certainly help out. But she's also a bounty hunter, so she can go into Black Sun. So that's certainly going to give that deck some help, especially when you can manipulate and peek at your Battle Destiny top card of your reserve deck during the battle phase to figure out, what order you need to do things in and who to shoot at. So that'll give Aura a little help, uh, give her a little boost in that deck. We've got two new Mauls. Wow, two revised Mauls, shall we say. I believe both of these cards already exist, and now they are getting some minor revisions. Both, again, Trade Federation, so a Stunning Move and Invasion are the likely places that you'll see them fall. But it can obviously be in any deck, and Newt is certainly going to have some play with them. You've got he picks up the new Luke text. If drawn for Destiny, you can take him into hand to cancel and redraw. Also cancels Blaster Deflection and game text of Amidala here. So canceling Amidala's game text will help protect Vader. So maybe we'll see this Maul pop into some hunt down decks or bring them before me decks that are a little more Vader heavy. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm going to refresh here because I'm not seeing any comments in chat, so I'm wondering if it's just chat or if there's something wrong with my laptop. So let's see. You'd love to hear my thoughts on what is powerful and what is weak in certain situations during games and ideas or suggestions on changes, tweaks. That's what I do every week. I give all kinds of thoughts and insight on what is powerful and what is weak. I like both Mauls. We'll try to use one deck. Okay. Yeah, I have a feeling Lone Hunter is going to be pretty good here. Weapon Destiny draws may not be modified or canceled by opponent. That's pretty solid too. Certainly could be very helpful against No Idea because they cancel Weapon Destiny draws to keep their dudes from getting hit. So that's a big plus. And can't be modified means no Wisa. I'm trying to think if anything else modifies draws. No, his game text would be canceled. I was going to say, could you use him against Senate? But no, you can't because his game text would be canceled there. Um, Shucks. Have him go running through because you imagine Maul running through the light side Senate, just cutting down all those jabronis. But yeah, but he could obviously help protect Vader with the Amidala text and like a hunt down or bring him before me, or he's just a good character. If you give him his double-bladed lightsaber, you can still modify the draws, which the double-bladed saber does. Your opponent just can't do it with their tracking us or Wisa or anything else that might -1 from a Destiny weapon Destiny uh, or canceled, so they can't. No idea that. Keep your eyes. Uh, Female interrupt. Yeah, the female interrupt. Yeah, the one that protects the women. Yeah, that's a good one too. Keep your eyes open is still going to work though because that just prevents weapons from being used. It doesn't cancel the Destiny draws. I'm pretty sure is how that works out there. And then we've got our new Lord Maul here, which says he's Weapon Destinies and Battle Destiny draws are +1. He's got the permanent weapon, target for free, draw Destiny, yada yada. I feel like this one's probably actually better than this one. I feel like this one used to do more. That this one was better. I feel like this is a weaker version of the old one. But I'll have to look the old one up. So please hold. Let's go look the old one up. Deck Builder. Lord. See, that's what they look like when they're in the playtesting mode. Oops. So what did this guy do? During battle with the Jedi, battle and weapon destiny draws are +1. Okay, so he did exactly the same, except now he doesn't have to be in battle with the Jedi. He just gets destiny +1. This is a slight tweak then. Okay, so that's just everybody. Yeah, so I have a feeling this guy's going to see quite a bit more play. I feel like there's a lot of good versions of Maul, and that's going to be a persona opportunity cost, which is always an inherent balance in the game when there's no clearly identifiable, like this is the best persona of a character that you use in every deck. For a long time you look at like Leia Rebel Princess or Luke Jedi Knight. That was clearly the best version of that character to use. And for Maul, it's been EPP Maul, except in random situations where you might play the Tatooine Darth Maul because of the ability blanking, which does come into play in certain matchups, especially against something like Watch Your Step or things like that. When those decks are a bit more popular, light side space decks are more popular. Maul's kind of a good counter to that because there aren't a lot of ability for pilots for light side that they like to use in order to get around that kind of stuff. So you have there's a few more now, obviously, with Anakin and Corrin being very popular in light side mains decks. But matching pilot guys and those types of hidden base decks, or Yavin 4 ops, it's Luke and everybody else's ability 3 or less. So Maul can certainly do some damage there, and against Watch Your Step, kind of the same thing. Malos and Boshek, yeah. So having multiple good versions of Maul. Still love to see the Coruscant Maul, the Young Apprentice, because, well, his text is just crazy. But again, he only fits into very specific decks. So this one seems to be a little bit more universal, and now with the change to Blaster Rack, he certainly could match up with his lightsaber a little bit more, and we'll see how he gets into play. Despair is what we spoiled 2 weeks ago on this show. And then we've got Evil is Everywhere. Let's see what this... Okay, so this is kind of like the light side version of a Jedi's Business. Deploy on table. Non-Episode 1 Dark Jedi are lost. So you can still get to keep Maul and Sidious and Grievous. I'm sorry, Maul, Sidious, and Dooku. Because Dooku has the Ep1 icon. And any future characters that may get created. So right now we've got a couple of Episode 1 Dark Jedi. Grievous is deploy -1. Okay, that's helpful. Your game text on Jedi Council Chamber is canceled. What the Jedi Council text does, I think it cancels the bonus. Yeah. Non-unique lightsaber Force Drain bonuses everywhere are canceled. So the non-unique Dark Jedi lightsaber, which goes on people like Grievous and that. Or a Grievous or a Warrior. This is Episode 1 generic lightsaber. Gets the Force Drain bonus, but just having the Jedi Council on the chamber cancels that. So this very Episode 1 centric themed decks will help protect that text to give you your Force Drain bonus, which is pretty cool. Unless with Obi-Wan, Dooku is immune to attrition. Okay. So Dooku, who already had pretty good immunity, I think he was less than 6, less than 8 if he was with a Jedi, now just becomes completely immune. Unless he happens to be with Obi. And you can deploy a mobile icon hallway, which is the Blockade flagship hallway. Currently, does the Invisible Hand have a hallway? Yes, Invisible Hand hallway. So you get a 2/1. You occupy, opponent must use +1 force to move from here using land speed. That's pretty good. It's a good 2/1. But they move 2 here for free. Okay, so they can get into that hallway. Just costs them more if they have to run back out. So you got that, and then you've got the flagship hallway, which is pretty good because fourth generation here is +1, and opponents' characters can't move away from here, so they're stuck there. If they come down, they try and battle you, they get barriered, or the battle just doesn't go quite as well as planned. Uh, they can't run away, so they're kind of hung out to dry here, and they're Jedi deploy +2 here. It's a pretty strong site for light side, for dark side rather, which is why it's also a 1/1. Previously, though, because it is a blockade flagship site, we must accelerate our plans. Could pull it. And you'd see that in some 12 card decks. They would run this as their battleground, especially 12 card hunt down. You're playing the bridge for the 2-0, and then you pull the hallway, and then you slap, Vader or whatever here. You get the extra +1 bonus, so it becomes like a 2-1. It's a mobile site, so they can't projection it. And then you've got Jedi deploy +2, so against certain decks, if this happens to be the only battleground on the table, and they have like an EPP, Obi, or Qui-Gon or something like that, they cost a lot more, and that can really limit their options. EPP Single Saber Maul should have the redraw text, not the new non-EPP Maul, if they want them to see more play. That may be a text restriction limitation as well. So, choice to use Obi. I guess they didn't want to make Anakin stronger. That could certainly be a guess. And there is a lot of interaction between Dooku and Obi-Wan. But yeah, I'm not quite sure why. I mean, they had to put right because the light side version says that Mace is completely immune unless he's with Anakin. Um, so yeah, so I guess they picked Obi maybe just to because Obi's kind of the hero of episode of the Clone Wars, right? I mean, Anakin is supposed to be, but at the end of the day, Obi's the one left standing. Um, so yeah, so that's pretty good. Or you can get the episode 1 lightsaber, which would be quite a few actually. Episode 1 lightsabers. So you've got Maul's lightsabers, you've got Dooku's lightsaber, and you've got the Dark Jedi lightsaber because it doesn't say unique. So you've got quite a few lightsabers there. So I think this card is going to certainly see a lot of play. Um, Certainly be a big boost to a stunning move and possibly invasion to give them some alternate methods of playing out those deck lists. And after all that, we have one little light side card. Han's Heavy Blaster Pistol. Deploy on Han or Beckett. Ooh, who's Beckett? Well, if you saw the Solo movie, you know who Beckett is. Target a character or creature for free. Draw Destiny. Hit forfeit equals 0 if Destiny +2 greater than defense value. And it's a blaster. So with Sorry About the Mess blaster proficiency, or just blaster proficiency in general, you could be shooting at as high as +5 Destiny defense value. There's also some sites that add to weapon destinies as well. The Theed Palace Courtyard being one of them. If on a non-spy Han, may fire once during your control phase, or place in used pile to cancel a weapon destiny targeting Han. So as long as you're not putting it on TK as an undercover spy and trying to pick people off, you basically get the text of Han shooting first, just like in the movies. Or he can send it used to cancel a weapon destiny targeting him. And then with Saitor, he could pull it right back out the following turn and put it right back on. And I know the generic Han, this guy, while armed with the blaster, he's defense value +2. So he'd be defense value 5. So that would be a weird interaction there. Because if they defense value is 5, they draw the first destiny, and you send it the gun used or whatever. Yeah, you could end up. There could be a lot of math going on there. Because as soon as you send the blaster used to cancel the weapon destiny, he's no longer armed with it. So like if you cancel the second destiny draw, you could end up still screwing yourself. Like they draw a 4, and you're like, yeah, I'm safe. And then they draw another 4 for Destiny 2 with the lightsaber, and you're like, oh, I'll just send this used to cancel it. You're like, well, now he's not armed with the blaster, so now his defense value goes from 5 to 3, so he still gets hit. Good way to save the gun, right? Put that in your used pile, so it's one less card in your lost pile. So, but that's what we've got so far for spoilers. And in a minute, we'll have one more. I just have to find the text and figure out how I want to do that. But in the meantime, let's take a quick peek and see if there's any games going on in the old Jemperoo. Ooh, we've got an all-star sighting. And it looks like there's some people waiting in the lobby looking to play. I guess these guys have already played each other. Otherwise, they would just click and play the game. The indoor desks are 2 sealed. That's always a bit of a fun one. We'll see what we've got going on here with All-Stars and J.M. Werner. In the meantime, let's get to our first spoiler. Give me 1 second here while I just pull it up on the other screen. Let's see what we can find. I'm just going to spoil all the rest of the cards. No cards for you, Jerry and Dan. I shall spoil them all. Alright, we'll do this in Notepad. We'll do it in Microsoft Word because I found that first. Blank document. Drag that over. Forgive me. So, again, spoiler alert. Text always subject to change. And this card is still going through the playtesting process. It's kind of gone through a couple of revisions, and they're trying to settle on which one they think is the best version. This is the one they're leaning towards, and obviously they're looking for some, general community response. Slip sliding away, which is a new starting interrupt. If you deployed exactly one location, and it was a site with exactly 2 dark side icons, deploy a battleground site. I feel like there should be a period. Then, if you have not deployed a site with Palace in title, may also deploy up to 3 effects that are always immune to alter, place, interrupt, and lost pile. You have to give me a second with this one because that's an interesting text. Alright, so you deploy one location. That's a site that has exactly 2 dark side icons. Doesn't say anything about light side icons. Just has to have exactly 2 dark side icons. So you could play any of the 2-0s, throne rooms or whatnot. Then you get an extra battleground site to go with it. So now you're up to, if you started with a 2-0, you get a battleground site, you're 3-1, you're 4-1, maybe 4-2, depending on what sites you picked. And if neither of those sites have Palace, you can't Jabba's Palace or Shizor's Palace to then get more sites. You can, alright, so the Coruscant 2-0 could also work here, so you can get your general stuff going. You can deploy up to 3 effects that are always immune to alter. So you can get some effects, typical starting effect stuff with the second half of the card. Made it also deploy up to 3 effects that are always immune to alter. They don't have to be free. Unless that's going to get changed by proofing. So that would give you some other possibilities. If they don't have to go for free, you might be able to. Just says deploy the effects that are always immune to alter. They don't have to deploy on table. They just have to be immune to alter. That seems really open-ended. I wonder if this is going to get changed because this seems really open-ended. Maybe that's on purpose. Maybe they want it to be a strong alternative start. That we'll have to see how that final plays out. But yeah, there certainly could be some options, and there's a couple of objectives that only start one location. Offhand, I'm thinking of Hitco Hunt Down. That should be a fairly predictable game. Um, I'm thinking of this deal. So, because deal only starts one Cloud City battleground site. Typically, they play like I'm Sorry, which gets them two other sites. But you could use the objective and deploy just one location. This would then give you a second one. So you deploy a 2-1, one of the Cloud City interior sites. Then it gets you the another site, so you could get. Where'd it go? There it goes. Um, there. Let's put these out side by side. So then you get a second battleground site. So you could get another one of the 2-1s from Cloud City, and then do because this also lets you start secret plans. You get IAO secret plans because it doesn't say just secret plans. You can deploy the combo with Imperial Arrest Order. Use the docking bay as your third site, and then you can get a couple of battlegrounds and set up occupation and whatnot for deal. So that would certainly be the immediate. I'm sure there are plenty of other applications for this card, plenty of other decks that it could be used in, but that's the first one that comes to mind that starts exactly one location. I mean, obviously, you could, instead of a careful planning or a combat response, I'm sorry, combat readiness virtual, for any of the other things, you could start a bunch of 2-0 sites, get a battleground site, and then kind of go from there. But as far as objectives that this would help out, it won't help Raltier because that starts one location, but it's not a site with exactly two icons. Brigham would. You could start Brigham because that starts just the throne room. So you could start Brigham and then get a 2-1 battleground site, and then you've got a place to go with Vader right away. So that would be the other one. Senate. Yeah, Senate is two locations, so that wouldn't work. Deal. Oh yeah, Brigham. Yep, yep, yep. Also, don't have to deploy it on tables. Stuff like security precautions could work. Yep, exactly, Ryan. Yeah, they just have to be three effects that are immune to alter. So certainly very open-ended. And again, obviously you want to spark new decks and new styles of decks and things. Um, so we could certainly see some variety there, um, and the number of effects that you could deploy. That's probably a pretty lengthy list of stuff that's immune to alter that just deploys. Um, so you can probably get a lot of stuff. I'll probably see lots of interesting combinations with this. But yeah, as far as objectives go, I think it's just deal and bring them. Everything else I think starts at least two locations. Huntdown starts two. My Kind of Scum starts two. Um, ISB just starts the system. I guess that could be the other one, right? ISB Ops, you just get one Coruscant location, right? Yeah. So there's a third for you. Senate is two locations. Yeah, ISB. Yep. Thanks, Wayne. So you get any Coruscant location. So you pick your 2-0 site. We'll filter this to just dark side. So if you picked your 2-0 site, Emperor deploys free here. If you're Moth here, all Imperials are deploy -1 at sites. That's just pretty strong. And then you could use that and get a battleground site. So you could get something like, hey, this is a 2-1 at Grievous. I don't know. Something like that. I guess you could also just start the city. If you're a general here, during battles at all battlegrounds, adds destiny to total power. Um, there's been a deck based around this that we've seen pop up a little bit, and hopefully I may have a link to do a game review of. I'll have to check it out. Where they do this, and then they put like expand the empire on this to move the text, and then you get a couple of generals at adjacent sites. Feels like that would violate the cumulative rule, though. but because maybe you're just adding destinies to total power, so maybe not. Because you're not adding to a total, you're adding a draw to a total. That might be how that gets around the cumulative rule. If it said, add 3 to your total power, that might end up getting restricted because it's not cumulatively adding 3 to your total power. But because it's just adding a destiny draw, that would make sense that is how that would work. As far as other Coruscant sites, yeah, you've got the Palace, but specifically, the Palace was excluded. So that's a pretty interesting card. Curious to see just exactly where that goes. Thanks to design advocate Chris Kelly for giving us the advanced text to let us spoil and discuss. Certainly always appreciated getting some spoiler cards. Let's take a peek in at how this OCS game is shaping up. We'll come back in a couple minutes and see what else we've got going on. Let's close this out. All right, so we got Hunt Down. He's got presence on the Jedi Council Chamber. Oh, I think I played against this guy. Yeah, I did play against this guy. I played against this exact deck. He had presence on the Jedi Council Chamber. I played Clash to cancel his presence, and he tried. I think that was pretty much it after I did that. It was like he force pushed or something, I think, to get the presence, like turn 1 or turn 2, and set this up. And then I just went Clash and canceled. And he's like, yeah, no, you win. Hey, look, there's presence of the Force. There's Clash canceling presence. He's going to try and sense it. That's going to be rough because his whole objective is adding 4. Oh, snap. Normally that'd be great, except Tarkin's +2 when drawn for Destiny. Wow. That stinks. Oh, he's got another one. Let's try again. That's also a 6. Sorry, JM. That's not going to go so well for you. Just because I'm curious, is he undercover or is he broken? He is still undercover. Okay. That cancels it. Vader's no longer at a battleground, so that flips the Hitco deck. And then obviously he'll pull Simple Tricks, which limits him to cancels the drain here until he gets 2 battlegrounds, which in this game, unless he finds his second presence of the Force or no escape, he didn't find no. Oh, never would matter anyway because Visage is just gonna bury it. So yeah, unless he finds his second copy of Presence of the Force, I would be astonished if he wasn't playing 2. This is gonna get a little rough. I mean, obviously he can use the objective here, the front side. He can spend 4 Force, pick Vader back up, put his lightsaber back in the used pile, and then send Vader elsewhere. Oh, there's the. Sorry about the mess to kill the U3PO, but he has the imbalance combo to cancel it. Okay. So he's still alive here. The question is going to be where else does he have to put him down? Does he have another battleground of his own, or is he just relying on making battlegrounds out of his opponent's sites? Because if he has something like the, the Cloud City site, the downtown plaza, he could still pick Vader up and get Vader to the downtown plaza and at least start doing some damage and drains that way, while U3PO is kind of doing his job over here, blocking this drain for a turn or 2. That certainly could buy him some time. Meanwhile, Visage is just going to keep pinging away at them both. Justin's going to draw. Oh, no, escape's already on the table. Oh. I wonder what he got back from that. I wonder if I can look back through the chat far enough to see. That's when he started. What did he no escape for? He no escape to get Boba Fett Bounty Hunter out of his lost pile back into hand. Justin already lost Corran Horn 2 turns ago from visage damage. Ouch. So this could be kind of a long, boring ass game where they both just keep getting hit with visage damage for a few turns. Yeah, light side, if depending on whether or not they're playing Jar Jar, may have some outs with Wisa as well, or quite a mercenary. Not seen too much the new quite a mercenary in light side mains decks. Jar Jar shows up a fair amount of the time in Hitco lists. He's kind of like one of those 61st cards or 60th cards that kind of rotates in and out, but specifically with Effantmon and Scum being fairly popular, there's some concern there. There's certainly justification to use him because he gets around that. He also gets around Moff Gergerard against TTO, and then just the ability of tracking a good destiny, clearing a character out, like possibly creating a situation like this where now there's just one guy left against like your EPB Obi, and you can get some overflow in, or just giving you uh, a third function for your Wisas to get rid of undercover spies. I can't believe I'm making a case for Jar Jar Binks. Misa so annoying. Misa do so many things. But Rescue's going to get grabbed. That's a decent card to grab in this matchup because you don't want your opponent cycling through everything. There's the Sonic. All right, so we'll see if he gets the Downtown Plaza. He does. It's almost like he's watching the show, listening to me give him some advice. Control F for no escape. Why do you think Hitco has risen in power? Was it Sidetour that edged it up? No, it was like my father before me getting edged down. So because of the change to like my father before me, which says you can only deploy it if an Endor site is on table, meaning the only deck you can start it in is like my father, is Hitco or oh, he's got sorry about the mess number 2. Is Hitco or wow. Wow. Okay. We'll get back to that in just a second. So yeah, it's Hitco. You could use it in like Rebel Strike Team or anything like that, or Tig. But Tig already starts Luke on the table, and Rebel Strike Team is pretty much playing on Endor sites where Luke deploys for 5, not 6. So, anywho, what happened here was Force Field. Use 2 force to cancel an attempt to use a permanent weapon to target your character. So Justin, not thinking about even that as a possible interaction, targeted with Obi instead of targeting with Luke. If he targets with Luke, Force Field doesn't work and doesn't do anything, and he gets rid of him. The minor secondary text on Force Field that 99% of the time the card never gets played to do happened to come into play here, and actually has a minor is going to have an impact on this game. So tiny little things like that really can make such a pretty big difference. And now we'll see what's going to happen from here. It's highly likely Justin has the Odin First Aid combo somewhere in his deck, whether or not it's in his hand or not. So when the Downtown Plaza comes out and Vader ends up there at the Downtown Plaza, there's a possibility that these guys could just pick up and move. I guess we're going to see if JM has the Gick, otherwise this game's going to be over real fast. I'm assuming he does. He's going to stack a card for losing a battle. That's going to come into play. I'm sure he'll retrieve a card at the end of his turn as well. There goes Krennic. No lightsaber for Rey. It's not Saitor Throne Room. He's got 10 battle damage. He's not playing the Gick. So does that mean he's deciding which 10 cards to lose? Because if that's the case, we're just going to stop watching this game. Yep, he's peeling 10 cards. That would be one of those things where it's like, great, you want to pick Vader back up, but you're basically just leaving a guy by himself to get his ass kicked. Do you not think Lightside had more characters, or, you know, did you just not think they would want to put them here and get them stuck at a non-battleground? So Justin's going to try and retrieve the sorry about the mess here, I'm sure. Yep. And now JM's going to have to stack a card to prevent him from getting it back. And he does. He stacks Dark Strike. Adds 3 to your weapon swing, cancel swing and a miss. He needs a card that cancels Clash. Lose a force to cause... Alright, so it's got most of the same text as the Sniper combo. But now he's certainly in a bit of a hole. Justin's got 22 to his 21, plus a 4-card hand advantage as well. So even if they just sit here and do nothing the rest of the game, and just keep taking one each turn to Visage, Justin will eventually win out. So now JM's got to force himself into a situation where he has to try to do something to regain some board control, stop his opponent from retrieving by flipping him back, get Vader on the table to start threatening some damage of his own. There's the lightsaber back. But now he's got himself into a bit of a spot here where his opponent has 9 cards in hand and 13 force. He adds Kyrkanos. Okay. When deployed, may upload a Royal Guard. If in battle with an Imperial, once per game, may cancel a non-immune to sense interrupt. The key phrase on this card we'll point out is if in battle with an Imperial. So you play a lot of interrupts like Clash of Sabers before the battle starts. JM thinking of conceding? Yeah, there's some of the comments about, I guess I need a Gick after all. Congrats on the easy win. Ooh, there goes Binks off the top as well. So we did have the Jar Jar. So Justin's going to have to do something here now, whether it's move these guys, deploy more guys, because he's got a decent number of characters already committed. I mean, he still has Lando, Padme. Solo's kind of... I was going to solo from the lost pile the other. Sorry about the mess. Right? Once per game. Firing with Luke's lightsaber this time around. Yeah, I forgot he had 2 in there. He didn't retrieve. He retrieved one of them, but yeah, that'll pretty much do it. Well, still drain 2 here versus drain 3 here, but Justin is a little bit ahead on life force count. I have you on mute, Chris. Still at work. Oh, okay, great. Thanks, Dan. Big Hall Theater show. Well, it's not going to be that big because I'm just going to spoil the rest of the cards tonight. So Dan, if you don't want me to spoil all the rest of the cards so you can save them for your show, you have 5 seconds to tell me not to do it. Okay. Guess you weren't have no objection. Yep. Excellent point, Berms. Yep. Solo. Sorry about the mess, as we just saw. Oh yeah, drain three, drain three. Right, Luke's lightsaber plus the prophecy. So what are we looking at here? 18 versus 20, 30. Yeah. All Stars has a 10 card lead, and they're both basically trading drains. And there's Jenner. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and hop back out of this game. Congratulations to All Stars on picking up a win there. Certainly had some interesting stuff going on, but at the end of the day, you know, he's not a two-time world champion and a Hall of Famer for nothing, folks. Contrary to popular belief, they do not just let anyone into the Hall of Fame. All right. Well, we've already been babbling for about an hour here. We'll give it a few minutes and see if somebody else picks up this other game here. Maybe I'll jump in and pick up this game. Ha ha ha. We'll just stream it right here as part of the show. No, you know what I'm going to do actually now? Now's a good time. I did promise that I would show off the first card that will be given away. I just have to find it. I think it's this one. The OCS foil. Foil number 1 of 7. Is the Nema Shipyard. So perfect for your old Allies decks. This is the February OCS foil. So if you played at least 8 games, which a lot of you did, this will be worth, you'll get one of these. And if you manage to play all 12, you will get 2 copies of this card. If you are not signed up for the OCS, you can still buy the season pass for $50 in the PC store, which, as a reminder, will be temporarily offline tomorrow night for those of you who joined the show late. $50 season pass at this point will get you the remaining 6 months, which normally cost $10 a piece. So you still get a $10 discount on that. Or you can just pay the $10 for March and be added separately and just pay month by month if you prefer. Ends up costing you more in the long run, but it's not so much of an outlay all at once, especially if you happen to know, like, hey, I'll be traveling somewhere, and or hey, I'm a tax guy and work gets really crazy in April and May, and when everybody starts filing their deadlines and extensions and all that kind of stuff. So you'll pick it back up again in July or August for the last couple months. You prefer to just pay the $10. But that is foil number 1. Next week, 2 weeks. Not next week, the week after, whatever that is, the 16th. We'll reveal the March foil. That'll be foil number 2. And hopefully that may encourage a few of you to make sure you get to your 8-game threshold to make sure you at least get that foil. Looking at the old handy-dandy list here, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 51, 2, 3, 4. 54 people played enough games to meet the 8-game threshold to earn themselves at least one foil. And 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 44, 45, 46 of those players played all 12 games. So we will certainly be giving out quite a few foils. I'll make sure to get that information to Kevin so he knows how many to actually print up. And in case you missed it, uh, I also did post this not too long ago. I think it's in the OCS thread here. OCS prizes and shipping details. We talked about it on the show before. I'll update this with a monthly foil card. But these are the batches that stuff is going to go out in order to consolidate shipments for the, keep the cost down for the PC and keep the time required, reduce it for me, so make sure things go out timely and manageable. This is the batch, how things are broken up. So mid-April, February, and March foils. If you're attending the MPC, you'll get them in person. That's the 17th through the 19th. And then the following week, pretty much all the rest will be mailed out. If you are in Europe, all your foils are handled by Kevin. So any European players, Kevin handles all your foils just like he normally has. He will probably, he's not going to be following this schedule, I'm assuming. You'll probably just get a whole big pile from him at the European Championships, which is in September. Perhaps if you go to, they've got a big event in April, their Welsh regional open thingy. You might be able to pick up your foils from him there in April. Maybe he'll give you February, March, and possibly April then. There may be a few other, regional championships or whatnot throughout Europe in the summer. If Kevin happens to be at one of them or sends any of the Welsh Dragons, perhaps you can pick up your foils from him there. But I think for the most part, you'll probably all just get a big pile of stuff from Kevin and the team uh, in September at the European Championships. But for the American players, this is kind of the schedule. If you are one of the very rare Canadian players, you do not fall into this schedule. Because of the shipping costs to Canada, you're probably not going to get everything until the end. And I do apologize for that. I don't think there really are very many Canadian players currently. But if you do happen to fall into that category, I'm sorry. You're in that rare middle overlap circle of the Venn diagram where you're not a European player that Kevin handles, and you're not a U.S. player that I can. I mean, you could come to one of these tournaments and certainly get your foils in person, whether it's the MPC in April, U.S. Nationals, which is currently in talks for confirming locations for July. Hopefully, we will have some more, get that stuff finalized in the next couple of weeks, and we can get that announced. Europeans have already announced their tournament schedule for the entire year, and their stuff in September and October and whatnot, or September and throughout the summer, and we don't quite have this scheduled yet. And then Batch 3 is the World Championships, which, as we saw on the homepage here, is in Washington, D.C., is October 8th through the 11th. I will let you know that for tentative plans for U.S. Nationals is for it to be west of the Mississippi, so on the other half of the country. Um, we'll see how that goes, how that plays out with finding venues and locations. I know obviously everybody's in hubbub, all up in arms over this coronavirus that's been around for years, but now suddenly is more of a concern. Let's not even get started into that whole media hype and what pharmaceutical company is trying to drive up their sales for their second quarter profits. But yeah, we're not going to go down that conspiracy rabbit hole. That's a different podcast, folks. Tune in for my conspiracy theories on Tuesday nights now. Just kidding. So just jokes, folks. Just jokes. But let's see. Speaking of huge, there he is. So that was his game. And I'm glad I didn't pick that one up because I've played against this particular deck of Kevin's. And it is certainly a bit of a challenge. Oh, that's the other thing we can talk about. The GEMP PC. Looks like there's a match getting ready to start. Oh, I have to go to challenge. Yodad and Taco Bell, I believe, have to finish up their match. And it looks like they were in the chat. Looks like they were just about to start doing it. Um, so here's where we are. We're moving on into round 3 here. There's still a couple people trying to finish up their round 2 games. Rebel Spy and Mike Turner both moved on. Coffee Pass has been waiting for a little while here, waiting on time of Yuppie, Matt Wadden, or Gornall. So if Gornall wins, then it would be a teammate situation as the team higher ground, Jagtech and Gornall. Can I hide this? No. That's just annoying. That's really annoying too. Go away, stupid ads. Um, we're still waiting on Tom Damon and Corin to play their match to find out who will go on and face Jared. And we've got Taco Bell and Yodad here finishing up round 2. Oh, Joker King advanced over Eric Hallbaker. You got Retwin and Kimura, Adam Trunzo and Batmouse. That should be a pretty interesting game matchup there. This is a teammate battle between myself and Jeremy DePaulo. Um, yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with that one, or when we're going to do that one. See when he wants to play. That people on our team were joking that we should just play like Seal Tech or something stupid for our match. I mean, if everybody agrees to it, right? But I don't really want to. I don't really want to do that. I don't know if Jeremy does that. Jeremy suggested Jawa Cup format, and I'm like, you played a whole bunch of games in that Jawa Cup format, so that would certainly be to your advantage. So, but that should be a good time either way. Jeremy and I have played a couple times over the years, and those are usually pretty good games. Then out here at the bottom, you've got some upsets with Dylan and Brad. Both were upsets. Brad over Casey, and then Dylan over both Munchanka and Huge. I'm sorry, well, Huge upset there, but I'm sorry, over Plagueis and then Huge. That's Kevin, who's just playing his game right now. This game was really close. I watched the game 2 of this the other day, and Casey did the same thing again, where he targeted with the wrong character. He had Luke Rebel Scout, whose weapon destinies are +1, and EPP Obi, and he, sorry about the mess, at like Araka or something like that, and targeted Obi with it instead of Luke, so he didn't get the +1s, and I think he drew like a 4 or 5 where Luke would have hit, but Obi missed. Um, so yeah, just gotta be careful. Every little interaction, you can't just assume things are ever gonna go your way in a game of Star Wars. The instant you start thinking that oh yeah, I'll just do this and I'll be fine. Tiny little unintended interactions come up, like not having the +1s to the weapons, or allowing your opponent to play force field to protect you 3PO because you targeted with the EPP. So little stuff like that. No GEMP PC round 2 left, so he'll make a casual table. Did they play? Oh, yeah, it looks like this league ended today, so because the server has already rolled over, and it is now 3-3, so they're going to squeeze their game in regular format. It looks like Taco Bell won the first game, so we'll have to find out what he needs to win game 2 by. But let's pop into that. Please be mindful if you are watching the game not to type in the chat, because it is a casual game. That could certainly happen. All right, so we've got Court from Yodad with no bargain. No Imperials. Rebels are deploy +2 at Jabba's palace sites. Really all that is there for. So that'll help keep the audience chamber alive. This is certainly going to be an interesting matchup. So let's watch this for a little bit before we wrap up the show. Taco Bell won the first game by 10. So we've got Court versus No Idea and no I and Court needs to win by 11 or more. They are both certainly both sides are capable of winning this game. It's going to come down to a couple key battles. Um, Usually, what we like to see, what the strategy is from light side is from dark side rather, is don't use Jabba's Haven to get an Al Hudda, get a couple of ships, one or two in hand, and deploy a bunch to Scarif and take Scarif from them. You control space. Don't give them anywhere to deploy or move to. Possibly even by controlling Scarif. They're paying to drain. You're not. You may be able to keep them on the zero side if you can then pile a bunch of guys on the, send everybody else to the ground and kind of contest that there. You need a limited force here in the audience chamber. You still have to be careful about some stuff, but between stunning leader and no bargain and whatnot, they can still get some stuff together. It gets a little bit more pricey because Tendon makes their guys deploy -1. Rebel spies are deploy -1. So some of their guys are deploy -1, and all of their guys are deploy +2. So Rebel spies are +1 and non-spies are +2. No, no, Chris Kelly. Thank you. Sorry, just getting caught up on messages here. I'm a very popular person. People like to send me messages all the time. Okay. All right, so Yodad gets Jabba, gets Scum. He's got Wipe. Wipe will let him activate one during his opponent's turn. So that's why he was able to draw all of his force. I'll probably pull his grabber shield here in a second as well. But one force does give him Greedo as a react with Scum out. You just have to be careful that Scum doesn't get canceled, because then you could be in some trouble. He could have barrier. He could very likely have stunning leader, or the other card is projective telepathy that they use for defensive purposes. Sometimes you'll see him use projective telepathy first to make your opponent pay 2 more force, and then if they don't have a lot of force left or they use all of it, then Greedo comes down, and then they can't fire weapons. It's usually more common against mains decks. You'll see that. It's that psychological mind game of I played the projective. It's like, do I have something else? Do I have Greedo to back it up? What am I going to do here? And then if they do, and then you can get the Greedo in. Sometimes they have 7 force left, and it doesn't really matter. And you're like, all right, I'll just save all this stuff for next turn, and possibly just need to. Well, it could also make a difference too, because then if they're trying to save 4 to cancel Scum, and you play the projective, now they don't have enough force to cancel it, so now you can come back over the top, or you get Greedo down, and now they have to pay, to use weapons. Not so much in against No Idea, but Bill will get a Rescue the Clouds through, though. Yodad with no grabber out. Trying to think which cards you'd like to grab against No Idea. That could be one. Leadership could be the other one, depending on which build they're potentially using. But Rescue is certainly a card we do see grabbed quite often. He's also going to pull the Fanfare Shield. And Bill's going to pull Battle Plan, because he didn't start the Battle Plan First Strike combo. Well, that can't be right. Why on earth? Why on earth would you play the pod racing shield? Oops, misclick. Be like, sorry. Yeah, it's not going to happen. They're going to revert that. Bill and Mr. Westergaard have certainly played a handful of games in the area since Bill moved back to Maryland, or to Maryland, rather. And, well, that's where Chris has always been from, so they've played a few at some local events over the last couple of years. So I expect this to be a little bit more of a casual game. All right, he's going to get oppressive in case there's an altar or anything coming out that will send scum used instead. Fanfare here. I'm not sure what immediate effect he's going with. He's getting, I never ask that question. This is one of the other grabbers. Curiously enough, designed by Kevin. If opponent just played an interrupt, use 2 force to deploy on table and stack that card here, but it's free because of oppressive enforcement. If opponent just drew Destiny or played an interrupt with the same card title as the card here, they lose a force. So you use this, grab a card that they're likely to play multiple copies of, like a Rescue in the Clouds. It gets stacked here, and then anytime they play it or draw it for any Destiny, Weapon Destiny, Battle Destiny, Sense Destiny, Neighbor Leads Destiny, whatever, they lose a force. Little thing, that's such an interesting little thing that you don't really take into consideration. You don't think about over the course. Okay, yeah, they grab my Rescue of the Clouds. Well, how often am I going to draw that for Destiny? And then over the course of the game, if you actually count it, you'll find out like, wow, I drew a Rescue in the Clouds like 5 times during the course of that game, and it cost me 5 force. And in a match play situation, maybe that's the difference between winning and losing a match. So this is an interesting card choice that I think actually could work out really well here. And then, like I said earlier, the Oppressive Enforcement Shield says immediate effects play for free. So instead of having to pay the 2 to grab the card, you get to grab the card for free. He does put out Nal Hutta, though, which all the experts will tell you is not the way to approach this matchup. Because you take Scarif, and then they take Nal Hutta. Usually, I mean, you run into force activation issues if you don't put it out sometimes. I mean, maybe you get your docking bays or whatnot, or if you have any other locations that you can get. He's going to get the Space Cruiser. That gives him an alien leader for free, so he gets Thronadu. This is the guy who stops stuff from being shot at, but it also causes direct damage loss here. Target a related location. Opponent loses 1 force the next time they move to that location this turn. So when they move, it's during their turn, right? Or once per turn. So during either turn, you'd basically they're going to put guys here to pick up Stardust, and then you're going to target the beach. And then when they move out, they're going to lose a force. And since they're going to try and keep probably two battlegrounds here, you can get a few pings in to catch them moving around. And again, that could be another little loss that adds up. 2 to 3 pings here, 2 to 3 pings from the grabber, and suddenly you've caused 5 or 6 passive force loss to your opponent in a very close, what should be a very close game. All right, he had an Effantmon as well. This guy's pretty big because spies, gamblers, and thieves may not deploy or move to same site. Well, as we already covered earlier, half of the no idea characters are spies, so he's very severely restricted the card pool as to who can go here now. So this is very unlikely that anyone's going to come here to try and cancel scum. And then gamblers and thieves, you don't really get too many with that. Certain versions of Lando, Solo are gamblers. Not a lot of light side thieves, although I'm curious now. going to have to go look that up. As to just what light side characters are even thieves. Lore contains thief. Poplu, Utkick, and Cabe. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so nobody that's really going to get with that. Um, Gambler does get a few. Gambler gets you Bodhi, Dash, certain versions of Han, and Lando. Not Lando Scoundrel, though. Premier Han, Jedi Pack Han, Wyosley, Lando with Blaster, Lando with Vibro Axe are kind of the bigger ones. So, yeah, mostly just the spies. All right. So let's see what we got going here. So Yodad went to Scarif, and as expected, Taco Bill deployed to Nalhutta. He's got Profundity for a bit cheaper with Kraken and Bodhi. Bodhi is also ability 2, so that's only 6 ability there, though. That doesn't get around Zuckuss. Could certainly be a little bit of a cause for concern there. Excuse me about this sneak. Pardon me. Then we get Chirrut, Ensign Chad, and Captain Cassian here. Picks up the Stardust. As expected, he uses Mithrandu to cause the ping. So when he moves, so he lost a force for the objective for not deploying there. Oh, he also slapped projection of a Skywalker on the audience chamber, so it'll be a drain of 0 now. So he. Why did that not work? He deployed Kraken on Profundity. He deployed Chirrut to the vault. Thrawn chooses the beach. Court makes him lose 1. He lost Blast the Door Kid. Relocated. He moved Chirrut over. He didn't lose force, though. That's weird. Target a related location. Opponent loses 1 force the next time they move to that location this turn. So when he moved Chirrut over, he should have lost a force. Is that a GEMP bug? Yodad is going to drain for free there. I gotta go back and did he? He deployed Profundity. He deployed Bodhi. He deployed Kraken. He deployed Chirrut. He deployed Chad. Thrawn targeted the beach. He moved to the beach. It doesn't look like either of them caught it. because he lost the force for the objective. Oh, he's going to grab the barrier. I have to blow my nose in a second here. I apologize. Um, so he lost the force for the court objective, and I'm wondering if they thought that was the Thrawn force loss, but that's not what the chat log shows. So, all right, maybe you guys in chat can figure out, make sure didn't miss it right, or double check and make sure that's not a known bug or something like that. But I gotta go blow my nose after sneezing so I can stop sniffling in your ears. So I apologize for that, and I'll be right back. Let's see. Possibly because he was carrying Stardust. Wasn't there an earlier bug fix where simply transferring Stardust caused a force of damage that they fixed? Just pointing out a possibility. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, it must have been a little bug or something like that. And I know that there were some simultaneous actions happening with the objective flipping and losing the force, so perhaps it just got like Bill moves and he has his objective is supposed to flip because now he's going from two battlegrounds to one. At the same time, um, his opponent's causing the force loss. So if he picks to flip his objective first, the next action should be the automatic action of the ping damage. But perhaps there's some type of little glitch there where that got lost in the shuffle, literally. So, but in the meantime, so Boba Fett got barriered. Jabba Space Cruiser moves off Scarif and moves over here. That's a risky play. Here comes a Tantive. Here comes a Bale. He paid the upkeep on Fett. Yodad lost 2 to the Stardust, losing Barrier and the Battle Order First Strike, which are the 2 cards he paid for maintenance. So we've got a Bale who's going to add a Battle Destiny. There's a Ray who's going to add 1 to the total and get him a use pile pull. And if Bill has it available to him between these 2 cards, I would expect to see a Bright Hope here. Velkin just adds 2 piloting, does some stuff at a pit. Okay, so just a little more extra power forfeit, but there's a free Radis. There's an I can't shake him to deploy. Nope. He's just instead going to do this for weapon destinies so he can track a 5 around, I guess. Because you can only deploy an Imperial, except an Admiral, ability less than 3. Um, weapon destinies here. This is another good thing that people like to combo up with Greedo. They only have 1 or 2 force left. You react with Greedo, or you play this first and then react with Greedo. So now they have to spend 2 force for each weapon swing. Just more tech that's usually pretty good against mains. Bill loses a force from Blount. He loses Blount from the objective for not having a guy on Tatooine. He's going to get 2 Battle Destiny here because of Bale. And he draws a spy, so he gets to retrieve. So he's got a 3 and a 5. That's going to be an 8 total, with Ray adding one more, makes it 9. And there's a 5 on the other side. So 16 force loss. And I expect to see someone like, probably like Bodhi or somebody go. He forfeits for, well, 6 because of insurrection. So Bill will lose somebody. He's going to lose Kraken. Okay. Either or in this situation. You're going to go. Thrawn's going to cover 6. Velkin's going to cover 4. The ship will cover the other 6. So he loses just exactly everything. It's not a bad outcome in this situation. But you're down a ship and 2 decent pilots. And now we'll see what Bill wants to do over here with these guys. Does he want to spend his remaining 3 force and move them back inside the data vault? Seems like a good move. That's what I would do. Your opponent's already got 10 power, 10 power and 3 battle destiny. You can cancel one of them with Cassian, but chances are you're gonna lose at least 2 of your characters, if not all 3. I'd rather just concede the beach for a turn and give him the drain at 2. He's got to pay for the drain because of battle plan, because he doesn't have the ships now, and he's got to pay for upkeep on Fett. So that's 5 force accounted for right there out of his 11, 12 with the 1 from wipe. So that would severely limit his options. If he wants to pay the 3 to drain and needs the 2 for Fett's upkeep, it's not like he can Ellis and then battle and get rid of Fett because of insurrection. So that's the strategy behind that play, and that's what just run away. You protect your characters, and you also limit your opponent's options for the following turn. Really make him think about what he wants to do. He's not going to drain. He's going to go get a ship. It's going to go back over here to Scarif. He's going to get the Ellis and Hinthra combo. Okay. This is going to add a light side icon to the system. While it's at opponent's system, it adds a light side icon. So that'll increase the drain by 1. Pardon me. Data's repeating on me a little bit. I hope you guys didn't hear that too loudly. Alright, he gets Woof. Woof's the best guy. I usually put on that because he deploys cheaper and makes the destiny draws -1. Oh, I don't like this move. I don't like this one bit, yo dad. So he forgot about the text from the objective. Each player's characters, except Imperials and spies, and vehicles deploy +2 to Scarif sites that player does not occupy. So Jodocast cost +2, which cost him 5. So now he only has enough force to move Fett over. He's going to leave Jasper kind of hanging out to dry here. I'm sure he's got a Gick. Or at least it's reasonable to conclude he's got a Gick. Bill also only has 3 cards in hand, so what could he possibly deploy on Jasper for that only costs 3? The simple truth is he doesn't really need to deploy a whole lot. Right now he's got a pretty decent damage output. He's got 2 damage from Stardust, 1 drain here for free. Tantive cannot move back. Neither can Profundity. These things are hyperspeed 3. And they are at Nalhutta, which is Parsec 3, and Scarif is Parsec 7. So neither of these ships can make the jump back. So they're going to be hanging out here all day. And he will need something else to deal with Ellis and Hinthra and Woof. His objective does let him get ships, though, so whether it's Profundity, or I'm sorry, Bright Hope in some people, Gold Leader and Gold 1. Let's just see. He has not used his wipe yet, so he does still get a force activated. So Gold Leader and Gold 1 would not end up making much of a difference in space there by itself. Bill's going to draw a card from Ray. He's just looking for options at this point with 4 force. With 4 cards in hand, rather. He's got plenty of force, just doesn't necessarily have much to work with. He's going to give his opponent a verify. Now he'll get to see whether he's got any ships or possible pilots or whatnot to go with it. Otherwise, what we may end up seeing here is him just shuffle these 3 guys back over to the beach and take this turn to reload. Certainly no shame in that. Reloading your hand, especially before while it's still early enough in the game. You haven't taken a lot of damage. You still have some force left, plenty of force left to work with. Um, you know, pay 3, shuffle these 3 guys back over, draw 5 or 6 cards, and keep a couple force. Oh, looks like Bill found what he was looking for. So he's using his once per game on 10 men to get Saw. He adds attrition. Opponent cannot reduce force drains here. If he's in battle with an Imperial or Rebel, he can lose top card of reserve deck to cancel a non-immune to sense interrupt. He also seemed to pick up Baze. Baze target hit if forfeit equals 0. If Destiny +1 greater than defense value. He'll lose a force from used pile. Hey, it's a Rebel Barrier. The card that he doesn't want to draw for Destiny because it's stacked over there. He'll battle. Baze is going to take a shot. That'll miss, but he did draw a Spy for Destiny. So if he wants to, he can retrieve that barrier. I'd still retrieve it. It's a card. It's a match play situation. The likelihood of you drawing into it again, it's uncommon, especially now you know where it is. You just, you can activate past it, track past it to make sure you don't draw it to cause force loss. And we got a Battle Destiny. Jasper has no immunity, so Jasper will die. I would expect Baze will also probably be the one to go. Maybe not. You can make a case to keep either one of these guys. These guys are going to move out back to the beach. And if you're thinking, ooh, he's going to get a second shot here. Nope, that missed. I forgot that Baze does that. If about to be lost, he can fire the cannon. So Jasper is going to cover the 7 battle damage, but if he, with that second shot, had picked him off, he would have made him forfeit 0. So we'll see Bill shuffle his 3 guys back outside, get the better drain site, again make his opponent pay to move these guys over, and then pay for upkeep. That's pretty much accounting for 4 of Yodad's 12 force each turn. And then he'll draw a couple cards. This is a long episode. Did I miss anything exciting? Yeah, Dan, you missed me revealing all of the remaining set 12 spoilers. I told you and Jerry I was going to do it, and neither one of you said not to do it. So you'll just have to watch it when I'm done streaming, and you guys can catch up on all the remaining set 12 cards. and then figure out something else to do on Wednesday. Go bowling. Oh, Bill just moved one guy over and then drew a bunch of cards. So he's going to leave Chirrut and Cassian there. Interesting. I would have thought he would have just kept running. Just take the drain. Obviously, he pulled ultimatum. I think this drain was limited to 2 anyway, though, because unless you're Star Destroyer here or Imperial at a related location, it's a drain -1. So it would have been a drain of 3, but it's -1 from the system anyway, so it's only a drain of 2. So the ultimatum shield was not necessary there. It's a drain of 2, capped at 2. And then we've got these guys. We'll see what he's got up his sleeve. We saw a Blast the Door Kid earlier. He could still have that, and he's just planning on using that here, but that would leave Cassian by himself if he were to play that, because it excludes characters of ability greater than 2, which currently is everybody except Cassian, and leaders, which Cassian is not. There's Erica V to the beach. What? When did you ask us? Well, I told Jerry I was going to do it in the Slack chat, and then when you popped in earlier and said, "Hey, I'm watching your show, blah 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 blah," I said, "Great, I'm gonna go ahead and reveal all the spoilers unless you tell me not to in the next 5 seconds." And then I did a 5 second countdown, which everybody can witness. I did a 5 second countdown, I even used fingers and whatnot, in case you were, not paying attention. And then I went, "Okay, well, I guess you guys don't care." So then I gave everybody the full spoiler list. All right, so Erica's gonna battle. He gets back Jasper. Ensign Chad here is gonna go ahead and add a Destiny to power. Ooh. Erica is actually immune to that. If he wanted to, he could lose 5 cards and keep Erica alive. And then he would have an Imperial on Endor, so then he'd have to meet the requirements for step 3 here. Now you just forfeit Erica, and you could possibly use your once per game on Jabba's Haven to get her back if you wanted to go that route. I think what we're more likely to see here, though, is he's going to battle and retrieve here with Scum yet again. Yodad does have to be careful here how he forfeits his guys, because he's going to end up with having just one of these guys left. I mean, I guess he could lose Jodocast and then lose to send Fett off the table with the maintenance cost. I expect we'll see Bill cancel that with Cassian. Yep. So Cassian forfeits for 7 because of insurrection. And he's got good power because of, he's not flipped. Okay, so he cancels. He throws Kraken out of play. Cancels the 5. So the total battle destiny is only a 3, which Cassian will cover. Light side draws a 3. So dark side's options in this situation are leave one of their guys completely by themselves, or forfeit Jodocast and then not pay Fett's maintenance cost to keep him on the table, which will either... I hate when that happens. You can lose 2 force and send him to the used pile or put him out of play. At work and you're muted. Well, that sucks, bro. Why are you working so late? It's after 5. Alright, so Bill's going to get the drain for 2 at the beach, plus 1 over here at the system, plus he'll cause the 2 Stardust ping as well. So he's going to do 5 damage this turn. And Yodad opted to pay the maintenance cost and keep Fett alive, which clearly signals he has the Gick. Or Greedo. Greedo would deploy for 1 as a react in this situation and would go from having 0 Battle Destiny to 3 Battle Destiny. What did he lose here? A Boba Fett, a Forlom, a Proxima, a Ponda Baba, and the passenger deck. Now you gotta ask yourself that one question. Oh, well, looky what we got there. We got a Rogue One to the cargo hold, because this can hold 3 starfighters. And now he can move some people. This thing has hyperspeed 4. So now he can move some pilots, ship dock some stuff, and pop a Rogue One on over here to shut down this drain at 2. He's going to have to move guys to keep 7 ability at each system, though. Alright, so we dropped Vanden Willard. He used Rey to draw the bottom card. Then he used Ezra, or he deployed Ezra. I think and now he's using Vanden Willard's text. There's Luke. Aboard Rogue One as a pilot. So now he's got, alright, so he's got some pretty good stuff there. So he can, and Bodhi does something on Rogue, he just adds 3 to Rogue One. Rogue One can only have 2 pilots, though. Zuckuss is certainly the concern there. He'll have decent power. It'll obviously be immune. He's got the stunning leader to exclude. Ah, and because he pulled ultimatum, he doesn't have the weapons display shield. So that'll exclude everybody. No force loss will be caused. The end. Work was still 5:15. Long story, just got home. Oh, well, welcome home. Oh, he's got Radis on there somewhere. He's got too many pilots over there. So Radis is 3. What do we got there? We got Luke, we got Bodhi, we got Radis. He's going to take all 3 of them. And then he'll move the Rogue One. Disembarks, and then it'll move over. And he's shuffling some people around. Yeah, he's got to get 7 ability piloting, so he needs Radis and Luke piloting. Because you have to be concerned about Zuckuss being a concern here. He's activating 11. He's got 25 cards, so it's going to leave him 14 cards in his reserve deck to pick from. Um, and of course, Zuckuss could be one of the 4 cards in his hand as well. So he does move over here. It's a little less power this way, but meeting the 7 ability requirement for Zuckuss is probably more important than the 2 power. Especially because Zuckuss is not immune to attrition, so. And then I'll move Saw over and kind of solidify this site. So he's going to take nothing in 4 strains this turn. And his opponent's only got 4 cards in hand to work with to deploy stuff to come fight with. And Bill will get to add a couple cards back to his hand and leave one. Nope, he's going to get the rescue through because his opponent has no force left to grab it. Dan, you also missed the new spoiler we talked about earlier. I didn't reveal all of them. I only revealed Slip Sliding Away. It was tempting, but to be honest, I don't know exactly which cards are being released in the set and which cards are still in playtesting, so I couldn't just randomly be like, here's all the cards, everybody. I could be like, here's everything we're working on, and somebody would yell at me for that. Probably more than one somebody would yell at me for that. And you also missed the first OCS foil, which, let's take a look at my handy dandy list here. Dan Tartag 1 played 12 games, earned 22 points this month. Jerry Queso Sauce played 2 games and earned 4 points. So that would be an 18-point lead. Not looking good for Queso. Somebody's going to be wearing a Pittsburgh jersey this fall. You guys could do it in stages. Like each major event. Yeah, it's the Nema Outpost is the foil. In case you guys missed it, there it is again. So now your Old Allies deck can have a foil starting location. Although I'm sure yours already does, since you know how to print on foil paper, or have a printer capable of printing on foil paper. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so there goes Afra. Afra goes to the Great Pit. Afra's going to retrieve 4-Lom into hand. That's going to cost him 1. That's only going to leave him with 9. So if he wanted to deploy Zuckuss and 4-Lom, that would cost him 8 and 1 to battle to try and clear the Rogue 1. I don't think that's going to get him far enough to do all that. Oh, Proxima's going to go inside to the Data Vault. Oh, because he retrieved Proxima with... Yeah, he retrieved Proxima. With his Jabba's Haven. So he can battle, then he'd have to move Afra over instead of retrieving. Proxima's ability 4, so he gets 1 destiny for that, plus 2 destiny. Does not have 2 aliens to add an extra destiny. Chirrut's getting some work here. Just initiate a peek at top card of any reserve deck. Return it or put it in opponent's force pile. 4-Lom will cancel Saw's text. Just because he can. 4-Lom's really just there to add the extra destiny with Fett. He's going to draw 3 destiny here. And I don't think it's going to clear more than 2 characters. I'd be surprised if it even gets 2. All right, maybe he'll get 2. He's got 3 destiny. He'll probably have 7. Yeah, Ezra's forfeit, and Willard goes for 6. Hey, look at that. He drew exactly 6. So that's going to be Vanden Willard. There's a 5 on the other side. He loses the Boba Fett because he needs the Force to move Afra back. Otherwise, he could be able to afford to pay the upkeep. Oh, Bill's going to lose Saw. Okay. I'm sure he'll find a way to retrieve Saw in the next turn or two through a variety of means. And if you're looking at life force counts, Bill's at 17 plus 7, making 24. 13 and 12 is 25, and 3, 28. 28, 24. Dark side slightly ahead, but light side looking a bit better in terms of overall board position. Light side's also doing more damage per turn. Dark side's retrieving a good amount of the damage with the scum battles and whatnot. But light side's causing at least minimum 3 damage a turn between the Stardust and the Nal Hutta drain there. Luke's also going to retrieve 1 now, piloting at a battleground. And we'll see if Bill has a 4th ship or just an extra guy to throw down for forfeit fodder on the Rogue One. There goes Jasper. There goes the extra copy of Scum. There goes an Imperial Barrier. Ray's going to draw him a card. He's got a pretty decent sized hand here. He still has a Walkling retrieval as well if he needs it. If he loses something critical or if he just needs a card back. I think Bill's certainly in the driver's seat of this game. And again, he doesn't need to win the game. He just needs to lose by 10 or fewer cards. 10 or less. Radis is getting kicked to the passenger seat because Zuckuss is not there. And now I expect we'll see somebody else goes to pilot, somebody who adds power, Jaren Webb. Adds 2 to power of anything he pilots when in battle with a rebel leader, which Radis is. Subtracts 1 from opponent's total battle destiny. So he's not modifying the draws, he's just subtracting 1 from the total. So he'll get around stuff like evac control and Imperial Justice, or other cards that say your destiny draws can't be modified. He's only modifying the total. Jaren Webb was a good old school card we used to enjoy back in the day. Him and Lieutenant Cabal, which was the dark side counterpart, were always good. Sometimes they were just enough to keep your guy from either, they draw a 5 and you subtract 1 from it, and now it's a 4. So, Jaren Webb's forfeit 4 was enough to cover. Vice versa. But with Insurrection out, he's a 2/6, so pretty solid. He left 1 destiny. If this is a card he tracked, hey, look at that. It's -1 from Woof. But I'm going to guess that's a card he Vanden Willard back. He's got a total battle destiny of 6. Woof only forfeits for 4. So that's going to clear everything. There's the I can't shake him. That reduces the total to 1. Rogue One is actually immune to that. Rogue One's immune to less than 6. Actually, it's immune to everything at Scarif. Sorry, it's on the system. Rogue One is piloted by a rebel. It's immune to attrition. So, no overflow there. And he dropped an extra guy for forfeit fodder down here. He has not used Chirrut's once per game yet to recycle, so he could certainly do... Oh. I guess he's going to save that. Maybe he did that earlier, and I would have expected him to immediately recycle and then battle here and draw the 7 and just clear everything. It's like everything is mine. But instead he's just going to draw a couple cards. The 7 is still on top. But now you leave your opponent some wiggle room here. Not much. Not much indeed. He also does get the option here of Jin, who's not losing, getting around the court loss now. If she gets battled, you have the possibility of drawing the 7 to save her. Yodad picks up Greedo with Proxima. He revealed 3 cards. We don't get to see those 3 cards, but one of them is Greedo, which he took into hand. And we've got a Probot. And there is said Greedo. And a Django, who currently is not doing anything cool. Excuse me. Said with a Jedi, a maintenance, or EPP. And he does have to pay to battle. Where did he battle? He battled inside. He's going to pay 2. He gets back Ellis and Woof. Chirrut peeks at his opponent's reserve deck. The magic number is 6. Darkseid has to be greater than 6. That's a 4. That's just going to get rid of 1 guy. That's thank you, Lieutenant Blount, but you're out of here. And there's that 7 again. That's going to get rid of Django. He's the only one with enough forfeit to cover that. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Blount, thanks for playing. Who's next? Probot battling Jin. Bill's going to stack a card to put something good on top of that 7. Probably that Might of the Republic that's been circling around that he may have drawn. No force left to retrieve for Probot battling here. So we'll just get 2 Destiny draws. There's a nice 5 from Darkseid, but it's not going to get any overflow here on Jin. And Jin declines to draw. He wants to see his hand. He's going to find out if he's got the Gick in those 2 cards and whatever else he may have. With no force left, he can't move Probot away. So he's just like, screw it. I've got 8 cards in his hand, probably a couple of them being characters. He knows he's got a 7 on the bottom and a pretty decent card on top of it. I'm imagining it's going to be at least a 5. So there you go. Just activate down to the 7. He'll do his damage here. Drain 1/1, ping for 2. And then he can certainly go battle and beat up on Probot. And this could certainly be the situation. Maybe this is the turn. He uses he uses Chirrits once per game. There goes the Docking Bane, Cad Bane, and the Prince, and a Cold Feet. Deploy, battle, do some overflow to Probot with the well-tracked 7. Recirculate, put the 7 back on top. Oh, there's Galen Urso. Once per game, place a non-immune to alter effect in owner's used pile. This is also very good for getting rid of scum. If both players just drew 1 battle destiny here, you use 2 force to switch numbers. That's not really a big deal. Solo and Leia, on the other hand, are kind of a big deal, although he gets a power bonus by being with the smuggler. So slight little power bump there for Probot. Goes from a 3 to a 5. So he covers 10 right now, which is the difference between them. Most people forget about that part of Probot's text. He actually does 3 things. He draws if unable to otherwise. He gets a power bonus against Wookiees or smugglers. Hey, look, there's a 7. So Yodad's going to lose by whatever the difference between these destiny numbers is. He draws the 5 again. So he really only loses 2 in this situation here. Yeah, light side loses somebody. Leia goes. Thanks for playing. Oh, Leia actually goes use because of Vanden Willard. Is that a once per game thing? Yep, once per game. Place a just lost Alderaanian in used pile. Of course, that does put her on top of the used pile, so on top of the 7. But if he hasn't used Vanden Willard yet, alright, he does have the Gick. I keep harping about this Chirrut 7 Destiny thing. He can do it anytime he wants to, and the reality is he doesn't need to. No, he is going to recirculate. Then he can use Vanden Willard, put a card down, pick Leia back up. There you go. So now the 7's right back on top. And if he battles here, he's clearing 2 things. His opponent has 1 card left in hand. He's already used his once per game Jabba's Haven. And Bill's already peeked at his hand, so he knows what the 2 cards are. So drawing a 7 here and clearing 2 things should very likely lock this game up for him, which is a good thing too, because it's past my bedtime. Just the 2. He's going to lose Vanden Willard this time around. I was going to say, it's either Vanden or Ezra, right? There goes Forlom, there goes Greedo. So it's just Proxima against these 2 light side characters. He's going to land Rogue One at the beach, kick everybody out. Move 1 guy over. He doesn't need to again, depending on what's in Yodad's hand. The best he can draw is a 5, and that just gets rid of Ezra. But if he wants to lose people differently, he could move 1 character over. He moves Bodhi over. Okay. It's a guy he doesn't necessarily need. Picks up that last card. Yeah. And now Yodad's in deep doo-doo. Oh, you can reveal the top 3 cards. he gets Bosk. So that gives him a character. And then I forgot, obviously, yes, about Proxima. That certainly gives him a little bit of options. Proxima can't move outside. If she moves outside, she's immediately lost. Um, it's a way to avoid a beatdown, of course. You just pay and move her out to the thing, and then she goes lost, and you're like, all right, I don't get my ass kicked now. Um, but in this situation here, he's going to put Bosk down with her, and then just initiate a battle. So you can retrieve 2 cards. He gets back 2 characters. See if he draws. It's going to be low, obviously. It's going to be enough. Bodhi's going to go. Whatever Bill draws, Bosk will go. That'll leave Proxima to fight one more day. Oh, now he's got to lose a force. He drew a barrier. Should have checked his own destiny, which sure could have moved that. Return it or place it on top of owner's force pile. So now he's got to lose a force. He's going to lose the barrier. These guys still have plenty of time left. And they have about similar life counts. And there's the rescue in the clouds, which will now get grabbered. So, again, not much Darkside can do. They'll draw a few cards here, kind of reload their hand, but they're pretty far behind in this matchup. They're hanging on with the Scum retrieval. Hanging on. But their net force loss each turn is getting lower and lower. Afra and Efontmon are moving out of the audience chamber. That's bold. That's a bold move. He's still going to take 5 damage, though. 1 at Nalhutta, 2 at the beach, 2 from the Stardust. Bill's going to track a 5, just play the Antilles maneuver. Neither of these guys have a forfeit bonus. So Afra only forfeits for 3, Efontmon only forfeits for 2, and he only satisfies all this other battle damage and attrition stuff when he's with Jabba, which he's not with Jabba. So a 5 clears them both. But yeah, Bill's going to do 5 damage. No retrieval from Luke because he's not piloting this turn. Though I expect we'll see these guys take off in a minute. Whoever's left. Alright, so we get a Gana Gleamort. We get a Gick combo. We get a Greedo off the top. There goes a P-59 off the top along with the Alice and Hinthra as well. We know Bill's got Leia because he picked her up before. No, there's Wedge. Retro. Bodhi is a Rogue Squadron pilot, so Wedge will be able to cancel Proxima's destiny. And just for insult to injury, there's Theron Net, who's also a Rogue Squadron, was a Red Squadron pilot. He's virtual, though. The virtual one may not be. Oh, no, it's in his game text up here. I thought it was in his game text. But it does say Red 10, so he's definitely meets the Red Squadron requirement. And you'll notice Bodhi here has Rogue Squadron because he specifically targets a rogue ship. Oh, he's a gambler, though. So we got 14 to 2 We got 2 Gicks in the lost pile. And no idea what this destiny here is, but I have a feeling this is probably going to be the end of this game, and Bill will be advancing into the Sweet 16. He's going to retrieve for drawing a guy first, a spy, increasing his differential by 1. He'll get Ezra back. And just to pile it on as much as he can, he's going to use solo and add 1 to add the heading for the medical frigate from the lost pile to add 1. Wedge just cancels the draw. 18-2. And that should be all she wrote. What did she forfeit for? 6? Yeah. Yodad's going to throw in the towel here because that's the end. He'd be peeling 10 cards, and he's got 12, 15 left down. And then these guys are going to die when he draws that 5. And Bill can also Wackling a card back. So, congratulations to Taco Bill. Well played match also by Yodad. And Bill's telling him next time you play, don't deploy Nal Hutta. Thank you guys all very much for tuning in and watch the show this evening. Definitely appreciate you guys staying on. And we ran 2 hours, over 2 hours, 2.5 hours almost. So certainly one of our longer shows, but we appreciate that. You guys have a great night. We'll see you back next Monday. And don't forget to tune in to SWCCG Holo Theater on Wednesday night to get the remaining Set 12 spoilers in their entirety. You guys take care.